When I was in the CIA, it used to be my job. It was my very first job in the CIA to profile foreign leaders for the president, the vice president, the national security advisor, and the secretaries of state and defense. Anytime they were seeing a world leader, we had to write a classified psychological profile of that world leader. And I still kind of enjoyed doing it just for myself. My job at the agency when I first got hired was to be essentially Saddam Hussein's classified biographer for the intelligence community. His classified psychological biographer. And I worked with a team of psychiatrists, psychologists, and anthropologists to make sure that we had cutting edge analysis. Well, our first profile is going to be on a man named Reza Pahlavi, someone who also attended Lindsey Graham's funeral yesterday in Washington. Reza Pahlavi is the former crown prince and the eldest son of the last Shah of Iran. He's been waiting in the wings, attempting to jockey to lead Iran in the event of regime change. You're going to hear how charismatic he is in these clips, and you can make your own decision as to how likely it is that he's going to be the leader of Iran. But let me say a couple of things about Reza Pahlavi. I, not so jokingly, have referred to him in podcast appearances in the past as the clown prince of Iran. He left Iran as a very young man, in his very early 20s, or about the age of 20, in 1979. He hasn't been back to Iran since 1979. He is strongly supported by Israel, by the Jewish community here in America, by the Iranian exile community here in America, not the entire community, but I mean like the Southern California, very wealthy Iranian exiles. He lives in a multi-million-dollar palace in Potomac, Maryland, a close-in suburb of Washington, D.C. But he's not a player. He's never been a player. Since the U.S. and Israel began bombing Iran, he's appeared on a handful of podcasts. He was on the Patrick Bet-David show once or twice, and a couple of other podcasts, in which he sort of says what you would expect him to say, that, yes, the regime is terrible, it has to be overthrown, the Iranian people have to be liberated. And then sometimes he'll say that he's the one who should lead Iran, and other times he says that he's not the one who should lead Iran. The truth is, and I've said this in the past, and I've gotten death threats for it, I'm going to say it again, he would not survive the walk from the plane to the terminal if he were to go back to Iran. Nobody wants him in Iran. Nobody. You can't attack a country and say, we're here to help. We know we've been bombing you, and the first night of the bombing, we blew up the school and killed 160-something little girls from a school. But we're the good guys, and we're here to help you. And we want to take this stooge, this clown from Potomac, Maryland, and impose him on you so that he can be a dictator like his father was. Well, the reason that Reza Pahlavi's father, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was overthrown in the first place is because he was a bloodthirsty, murderous dictator. And people were tired of being murdered by the Savak, the secret police. So Reza Pahlavi is not going back to Iran. He's not going to lead Iran. He's not going to be a player in any respect. Although the pro-war faction of the Republican Party and the Israeli government think he's great. We've got a little clip that we want to show you of an interview that Reza Pahlavi did yesterday with Reuters.
There have been reports, they're kind of anonymous, that you've received funding from Israel and Saudi Arabia. Is that true?
Absolutely false. I have not been a recipient of any governmental or public fund on the outside. Every dime that comes to my campaign comes from private donations of supporters. hopefully we'll have more benefactors that give us bigger checks.
From where we're sitting today, when do you think regime change might occur?
I think we're very close to it. And the reason I say this is because, first and foremost, the regime is at its weakest it's ever been since 47 years. Not to mention the fact that in terms of legitimacy, it has totally lost any remaining possible legitimacy it might have had.
That's just wrong. He's just wrong. He forgets that when his father was first overthrown, Iran went through a series of presidents because there was a cycle of presidents in Iran that would just get blown up or shot or arrested or disappeared or whatever. That was when the regime was weak. Not today. You know, you would think that we would have learned a lesson with the Iraq War. We have so convinced ourselves that we're the good guys. We just can't fathom the notion that when we cross a border, we're not going to be seen as liberators. We're going to be seen as invaders and occupiers. It happens time and time again. We couldn't defeat the Taliban. They didn't even have shoes. And they beat us. We couldn't defeat the Iraqis. Iraq is still in a state of chaos. But we think that we're going to be greeted as liberators in Iran? Why would we think that? We would think that because people don't have any understanding of history. So here is this clown waiting in the wings, pretending to jockey to lead Iran in the event of regime change. Well, I would liken him to Ahmed Chalabi. For those of you who don't remember Ahmed Chalabi, he was a similar clown that was in the pay of the CIA, the American government. And we made this really stupid plan to make him the president of Iraq as soon as we overthrew Saddam Hussein. And the Iraqi people said, "Oh, no, you don't." Well, it's happening again.